Okay, man. I am it's been a crazy week. This has been a crazy week, not just the news, but of stuff that's going on over here on the CP side. Back at home, I've been heads down in the Seattle election, which we can talk about towards the end. This is also the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act passing, and that's a huge deal for us because that's how we got in this mess. Is a Voting Rights Act being dismantled. So I've been seeing headlines here and there on redistricting. I know about Texas, but it's completely evolved nationally.
It is totally completely evolved, and the fact that this is happening in Voting Rights Week of all weeks is just emblematic of the destruction. Basically, you're right. This is beyond just Texas. I just wrote an article about this today. If anyone wants to go read it in depth, AhmedBaba.news, shameless plug. We've
Always.
got Trump basically behind the scenes. It started in June. He started calling Republican states, and particularly Greg Abbott in Texas, because they have the widest swath of districts to be able to essentially wipe off the map. But basically, Trump wanted 5 new seats in Texas, and Abbott is seeking to do that. We know Texas Democrats fled the state. But
Yep.
meanwhile, they're also pushing in Indiana. J.D. Vance was there yesterday, trying to pressure more skeptical Republican state lawmakers to do it. They're potentially gonna do it in Ohio, where they're required by law to draw new districts after a long legal battle. And then you've also got Missouri, you've
Hmm.
got potentially Florida now,
Yep.
and it's essentially a nationwide gerrymandering push
Yeah.
from Trump that is just so blatantly authoritarian. And now we can get into the details of what's going on with the Texas Democrats, but like trying to potentially sick
Yeah.
the FBI on them, it's unraveled really
That's
fast.
crazy. So I want to go super high real quick before we get into details because I think a lot of our viewers are pretty well read in this thing and they're seeing the headlines as they go. Um, the this is a reminder, hopefully, for all of us that the reason why Republicans have any shot of winning elections in America is because they cheat. Full stop. If all of the people who were eligible to vote had the opportunity to actually vote, not were forced to vote, but just nobody was wiped off the voter rolls for erroneous reasons. People weren't didn't have their right to vote taken away. If they all voted, we would win every election. Okay, we'd win the majority. Democrats, liberals, whatever, even left leaning independents would win the majority of elections in this country. And the only reason why Republicans have a shot is because they do stuff like this. And this is, I'll never forget this, back in the day, pre Trump maybe, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton came into town and they did this giant event. And one of the things that Bill Clinton communicated, he said that he and Mitch McConnell had a conversation, and this private conversation that now, Clinton was okay speaking publicly about. He basically said that McConnell admitted to him that if it was fair, then Democrats would win every time, and Republicans have to do this to stay in the game. And that's it. Their tactic is to make sure that we don't all vote. That's their tactic, and that's what we see them doing. This is like all pretenses set aside, the facade removed. Bless you, man. Bless you. The facade completely removed. Um, this is what they're about, and now we're seeing it.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry for the sneeze. I'm allergic to authoritarianism. So basically, what's happening here is exactly what you're saying. If you think you can win on the merits of your ideas, if you think you can win on the merits of your policies, you don't have to like rewrite the parameters of democracy
Yep.
in order to win. And that's what they're doing here with these maps. You can even see in some of the Texas maps, they're drawn in. It's like they're playing Snake or Tetris. Like you could see it. Like they come and take slivers out of the urban areas, and then it
Hmm.
balloons out in the rural areas. They're just carving it up in a way that virtually eliminates these Democratic seats. And again, the reason why this is so improper is because this usually is tied to a 10-year census. And
Yep.
instead, they're being forced to do it by Trump. Well, not forced; they're going along with it
Hmm.
in this mid cycle here because, again, Trump knows he's unpopular.
Yeah.
The generic ballot, every poll I've seen indicates Republicans are very likely to lose.
Yep.
And therefore, they're going to rewrite the rules. It's a blatant power grab. It's overt
Yeah.
in how far wide reaching it is. And like you said, the history of this, I mean, you go back to Jim Crow, like this is just, and because of what the Supreme Court has done, upholding,
Yep.
some racial gerrymanders, things like that, it's made this easier. And they're moving forward with it. But luckily, Democrats are responding. We can get to how they're responding in a little
Yeah,
bit. But,
yeah.
but overall, I think before we do, it's
Yeah.
just the blatant authoritarian nature of this
Yeah.
that you highlighted is key.
Well, and I want to. This is like a message to our side. Don't lose hope. This is not the majority of America that is siding with them. They have silenced so many voices. There are still more of us that believe in democracy and believe in fairness and believe in this kind of liberal idea. It's hard to say it now because it feels like we're so far from it, but there's more of us on the good side. That's like my like overarching message. Here's the other side, right? In order for us to achieve the thing that we want to get, we've got to play by this new set of rules, which means that blue states now have to gerrymander, and like Hochul said in New York, this is war now, and it is war of the map drawing kind. This is not out in the streets fighting violently. It has not come to that, and hopefully it never will. But it is war on drawing maps, and New York and California have responded. Did I hear that J.D. Pritzker said something about Illinois?
Yes, J.B. Pritzker is considering this. Maryland state lawmakers have talked about this.
Yeah.
New
Okay.
Jersey. We
Yep.
have New York. Obviously, New Jersey and New York, it's harder because they'd have to change the Constitution, which would
Yeah.
take a ballot measure. But so that might not happen until 2027. But either way, Democrats are speaking up. And before I talk to Democrats, I wanted to piggyback off what you were saying, just on the
Yeah.
to give people hope.
Yeah.
It's just to reemphasize that this is coming from a place of weakness from Trump.
Yes.
His approval rating is at
It's because they knew they were going to get hammered in the
he's at a
midterms.
and it's not just the generic ballot. His
Yeah.
approval rating is at a second term low of 37%. And to put that in perspective, his all-time low, this is a Gallup poll, which is one of the, his most historically reliant presidential approval polls. His first term low was 34%. And you know when that was? It was after January 6th.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Trump's approval rating right now is 3 points away
from
from
January
his
6th.
post January 6th low.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
crazy. It's crazy.
So this is coming from a place of fear. This is coming
Yeah.
from a place of inadequacy and knowing that they're cooked potentially.
Yeah.
We've been saying this all year that Republicans have cooked themselves, and in the midterms. And you're right. They're coming from this place of weakness, and because they're coming from a place of weakness, I think that's why we also see why Democrats are responding as forcefully as they are.
Well, and also I think that it's clear to Democrats that the only way to win is to fight fire with fire. I think that there was if you rewind 4 years, there was a time where people believed that we could win by playing by the old rules and being better than them, and not getting down in the mud with them. When they go low, we go high, right? Like that was it's admirable. It's admirable, and and also it's in America from a different time. And I think that the thing we understand now is that we have got to get down in the mud with them, or we lose everything. We lose everything. They're willing to do anything in order to take and retain power, and the only way we get to fight them at all is this way. And it's tough. It digs at our souls because it's the opposite of fair maps. It goes against one of the principles we've been fighting for forever. The Voting Rights Act is built on making sure this kind of thing doesn't happen. And yet, in order for us to have a shot at next year's elections, we have to gerrymander also.
Yeah. And I think that's spot on. That's what's happening. And again, I think what media needs to be really careful of, and people generally is framing this as partisan bickering or two sides, having gerrymandering wars. What this really is Democrats are doing this in a defensive position. This is a defense and a rebalancing of something that were to happen if Texas were to pass this. It is not Democrats going on the offensive here. And I think Gavin Newsom had this quote of this one sentence from his statement I wanted to read that I thought captured this perfectly, of especially what you're saying. He said, California's moral high ground means nothing if we're powerless because of it. And I think right there he's speaking on behalf of Democrats more broadly. If you can hold this moral high ground, you can hold these principles, but if you're just going to hold them and let Republicans trample over democracy, then what's the point of the principles in the first place if you're not going to be able to actually effectuate that change or bring those principles into policy because you've just ceded all power? And I think Democrats are now finally dealing with the world as it is and not the world they want it to be. You can't live in this high-minded ideological place and let yourself, this isn't, you can't let yourself get repeatedly punched in the face. You're trying to defend these immigrants, you're trying to defend the rights of people behind you, and you're just going to let Republicans repeatedly punch you in the face.
Yeah, right.
You can't do that.
Right.
You have to fight back. And obviously that's a violent metaphor, not with violence, but you have to fight back with these initiatives. And I think defensive redistricting is not a crazy thing to do if they're encroaching on your democracy. And obviously, once we're out of this, just do a national ban of gerrymandering. We'll be done with it.
Yeah, but the only way you get that is if you get power. That's it. Exactly. You've got to get power. What do you think of? Because the interesting thing about this is that it's very clearly going against things that we talked about, a year ago. But I don't see a lot of resistance. In fact, the only real resistance I see is from moderate major news outlets that want to make sure that they curry favor with Trump, right? Like they're the only ones questioning this.
Yeah, and even Eric Holder, who literally his whole thing is independent redistricting, is saying this has to be.
Yeah.
He compared it. I think it was him. A comparison to Germany's invading France, so we just decide we're anti-war, so we let them invade France, right? No,
that's good.
It's not what you do, and it's so I think you're right. I see a lot of some mainstream media journalists. Even I saw someone on MSNBC asking this question, like, "Oh well, aren't we? Are we? We pushing it?" But it's like there's this underlying, especially among liberal journalists, because all these journalists are liberals. They're not Republicans, right? They're trying to challenge their own assumptions because they actually are liberals, right? So they think they're playing devil's advocate or trying to. There's an assumption liberals are going to act in good faith in media. We expect liberals to be good people. We expect liberals to have less hypocrisy. We expect liberals to have less contradictions. But we expect Republicans and the right to be vicious, depraved liars, basically, is what this is, what's been happening. Yeah. So when Republicans are acting like authoritarian, vicious, depraved liars, the media is like, oh, well, we're almost desensitized to that. And then when Democrats, for a second, seem to betray a value or, for a moment, they're going to gerrymander too. Well, it's like, well, aren't you just being so hypocritical?
Yeah, right.
And it's like, you can't, you have to accept that Republicans are behaving this way and recognize that this is just so authoritarian. Talking about sending the FBI to go capture
That's crazy.
Runaways. They're calling them runaways.
Are they really?
All these they called the the largely black Texas State House.
They called them runaways?
They called them runaways.
Get the fuck out of here, man. That's crazy.
No, it's crazy. We said,
Wow.
Yeah, it was like, we got to go get these runaways.
Okay.
Using this terminology, you're talking about going to arrest these people. You're going to bring them in chains and you're going to put them in the Texas house?
They would, dude. If they did it, it wouldn't shock me.
And if they did it, it would be, okay, do you want your approval rating to drop by another 10 points?
Right.
Like, how far are you willing to take this? And again, this is the worrying part. They're behaving with an impunity as if they don't care about the approvals. And I think that's why the media and people need to wake up and recognize, like, this is a real threat, and you can't be tone policing Democrats when Republicans are burning the Democratic, the small d Democratic House
Right,
down.
right. Yeah, so it's interesting. I think that the media is struggling to find where the analysis point is because it's so obvious that this is a necessity. The analysis point should actually be on, how exactly you're going to get this done because it's different in each state.
Yeah,
How are you going to bring along your voters in explaining this? Um, it's like a level deeper than just like surface. Like, wait a minute, like that's not what you do. And and
yeah,
and, and really, the electorate that's the one that major media is losing. They don't give a shit. Like they're not the ones who are gonna hold their feet to the fire on this. It's like, yeah, that's right, fight back. Do like Texas, the Texas state ledge are heroes right now.
yeah,
This is like, the younger generation is like, that's right. Like they're doing exactly the thing that you know you don't see Jeffries and Schumer doing, where you're putting yourself at risk and you're going on a limb and you're
yeah,
missing your family and stuff. Like you're getting uncomfortable. Like that's the kind of stuff people want to see. And
yeah,
and by the way, they did it twice before in the last the last 20 years.
yeah.
This is actually like a regular thing that Democrats in Texas have to do. But that's what people want to see. They want to see like pushing and fighting and like and doing stuff that feels unusual and risky.
Yeah, exactly. And these people have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
State lawmaker is not a full-time job, so
No.
they're leaving money on the
They
table.
get paid
They're
like
leaving their families.
six, 500, six
They
hundred
get paid like
dollars to do
they get
this.
paid like nothing.
Yeah.
They get paid. Yeah, they're getting fined daily.
Yeah.
They face civil arrest warrants at home. They are really going hard, and also breaking quorum's not illegal. They're allowed to break
Yeah.
quorum. And Abraham Lincoln broke quorum when he was a state lawmaker.
When he
in
jumped out the
Illinois,
window.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we jumped out the window,
Yeah.
right? So it's like it's a thing people
Yeah.
do. And the thing is, it's you're right. It's showing a real fight, showing a real self-sacrifice. And if they didn't do this, we would have just woke up Monday to headlines of Texas House passed
Yeah.
law, right?
Yeah.
And that would have caused outrage. But by doing this and prolonging it and bringing all this attention to it and showing that fight, that has brought so much more attention to it.
Yeah.
It's inspired all these other states
Yeah.
to speak out, and it's threatened the threat of retaliation from Democrats, from Newsom, from Hochul, from Jersey, from Pritzker, all of them standing up in this unit, is scaring
Mm-hmm.
blue state Republicans. The new dynamic over the last 2 days is blue state Republicans that helped Trump win the House are freaking out.
Really?
Mike Lawler in New York. I think it's Rep. Kinley in California or Kylie. They're saying, don't do this because we're going to get our seats eviscerated.
Oh, interesting.
They're afraid. They're
Interesting.
saying if you start this,
Yeah.
you are going to, because Newsom's not playing games.
Right.
Newsom was like, if you write away 5 seats, I'm going to gerrymander away 5 Republican seats. He's like, I'm going to meet you all where you're at.
Interesting.
And we're gonna and so these Republicans are saying Newsom's going to eviscerate my seat.
Yeah.
If you guys do this, don't do
Well,
this.
and I think that part of what they're saying is that red states are already gerrymandered. That's how you got your trifectas in your red states. We fought for public opinion in blue states and won fairly. You all gerrymandered it, and the public didn't have a choice in your red states. So you have less seats to gain. If California and New York and Illinois went as hard as these red states are going, 5 seats is a minimum of what they would get.
Yes.
If Newsom went hard, we're talking double that easy, because California is not gerrymandered.
Yeah, dude, California, there's a lot of, obviously it wouldn't be able to happen as fast in New York because of the constitutional
Right.
change that would need to happen, but 2027,
Yeah.
you're talking even more states,
Yeah.
even more districts carved out. If you want to play this game, there's ripe
Yeah.
seats in these blue states. So I think what we're seeing is it's just foolish on their part because they might unleash a Democratic Party that they don't want to bring this side. You're going to force good people
Yeah.
to
To
turn
go
up.
bad. Forces to
So
go
you're going to
bad.
force good people to go. Yeah, you're going to force them to go bad, or force them to this is okay. Perfect time. I know if Hanson's watching, he's going to be super hyped. We got an Andor reference about to come out. Luthen was like, I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy against them.
Yes, yes.
And that's what Democrats have to do right now.
Yes.
They unfortunately have to use the tools of their enemy against
Yes.
them. and that is gerrymandering.
That's right.
And the mere threat of it, they might not even have to, hopefully,
Hmm.
the mere threat of it could cause enough pressure. These blue state Republicans are really, really
Yeah.
pissed. And they're speaking to different, I'm doing the reporting on it. They're speaking, 1 second, they're speaking to Politico. I saw Mike Lawler speaking on, he's over here speaking on CNBC. We see they're talking to Politico.
Yeah.
They're spreading, they're on the record. They're not like privately complaining. They're on the record. And that speaks volumes because this is a party that's afraid of Donald. So for them to speak out against something Donald's doing publicly,
Totally.
we'll see.
So speaking of Dems, I feel like the gloves are already coming off in some ways in these elections that we're seeing in these primaries in these blue states. And the one that happened in Seattle, it is going on the offense within our own party to tell them what we think the future of the fight on the left looks like. And the same way that governors are completely they've gotten the tone shift and they're ready to move on redistricting. Uh, Intra-party primaries, there are younger, more left-leaning candidates that are winning in Seattle. The Seattle election that happened this week on Tuesday was a story of that, from the mayor to
Yep.
the city attorney to the city council. Younger, more diverse, more liberal candidates are beating out, and they're still counting ballots. Actually, I gotta look at the latest numbers, but the first drop of ballots, it had the some people beating people by double digits. These are folks that where Seattle's a city that's swaying more moderate, right after we won the presidency with Biden and kicked Trump out. And
Yep.
now it's swinging back the other direction. And I think the same thing is happening in Minnesota. The same thing obviously is happening in New York, where if the governors represent younger, maybe closer to establishment elected officials who are making the turn at the top, these city races represent the shift that's happening at kind of the ground level, where you see grassroots candidates that whose money and door knocking power is actually it's from the bottom up. It's a transition across the board for the Democratic Party, and I couldn't be more excited about it.
Yeah, it really is cool to see, and just congrats on the Katie Wilson endorsement and the win and her being leading, and that just being part of this, right? You're helping push that progressive future because it's necessary. We see it happen here in New York. We're seeing it everywhere. And again, it goes to what we've been talking about. The right thought they won a cultural mandate, but they did not. They won an economic one because people, for some reason, didn't listen to what they were saying and thought they were going to focus on the economy.
Right.
But instead, they decided to be raging psychopaths, for lack of a better word, and go after migrants and do stupid tariffs and all of this. But that is leading to an opposite swing where decent progressives who are just trying to make an impact, showing that the old establishment ways of fighting back against this don't work. And it goes to what we were talking about this whole time with the gerrymandering. It's like people want innovative fighters who are going to deal with the world as it is. We can't be lectured to and pontificated about how everything is, we just take the high ground. And again, you could take the high ground and be decent, and if they go low, maybe it just means you leap over them, right? It doesn't mean you have to, maybe you have to get into the mud, right?
That's good. That's good.
Right?
That's good.
They go low, you
leap over them. That's
do,
good. I like that. It's
yeah,
a new one.
you just leap over them and you just like make them irrelevant and you just do what's necessary, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what people are clamoring for right now. And it's not like we're not doing indecent things or horrible things. You're just defending people and rights. Like
Yeah.
if Trump was just trying to like do tax policy and stuff, like little things. Okay, that's Mitt Romney.
Right,
that's
right,
whatever.
right.
But you're coming after human beings and
right.
taking abuelas away and like, bro, relax.
Right,
like,
right.
And people need to stand up.
Yeah, it means we get more aggressive and more defined about what we know is right. Because I think there's there's kind of a rhythm on the left where people get comfortable just debating things when they know.
Yeah.
Like here's clearly this is the way we should go, and be like, but let's talk about it though. Let's have a forum. Let's build some committees, and let's have a conversation and show that we're listening to each other, even though we know this is the right way to go.
Yeah, and make sure you say Latinx, and make sure you say these
Right,
specific
right.
words when you're saying, you know.
Wes Moore, he's like, he defunded research recently about what was it? I forget what it is now. Reparations. He defunded research for reparations because he was like, no, 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 we know what the answer is. I'm not going to fund this anymore. Let's build a solution together. And his talk
Yes.
track now, which is really, it's a good one, is let's stop researching the things we know the answer to. Let's spend more time and money, frankly, getting this stuff done around wealth inequality and housing and all these things. The other side is, this is a topic that maybe on a different podcast we go further on, deeper into, but I think especially in a place like Seattle, corporations are paying for them bending the knee to Donald Trump. And and
Yes.
and so there's this anti-establishment wave with us pushing against, Chuck Schumer and his way of doing politics, and the older generation who's said, like, this is the way you get stuff done, that smells different after Joe Biden. The other thing, though, is that you see these major corporations that are giving in to Trump and what he wants, and it's censorship on their social platforms. It's them, everywhere from like search to AI, taking keywords down that he doesn't like, and all these things. And they think that there's no price to pay for that. Well, part of the price you have to pay is that the candidates that you back in these elections, we're going against them. If you attach yourself to a candidate and you fund a candidate, we're seeing that as your candidate, and all the stuff that you did with Trump, capitulating to him, you're paying for that shit. And we're coming for you. We're coming for your person. And in a place like Seattle, that's where Amazon's paying a price, and they've gotten real close to the mayor here, and that's what people know. We remember that. We were there. We were alive. We saw it.
And the mayor had to pay the price, right? Like,
Yes,
and there's a candidate
that's
price.
right. That's right. And so it's happening in these blue states and these blue cities where a lot of corporations have set up shop. You're going to see it next in California, where there's a lot of races. There are these ones that we flip from red to blue that we gotta have these more moderate candidates. But you best believe, man, in some of these like safe blue districts, you're going to see those business backed candidates start to take hits, and it's going to surprise people. And you're going to see these younger, more inexperienced candidates seemingly come out of nowhere, funded by small dollar donations, and they're going to be kicking ass in these primaries.
And it's going to change the way things are done. When there's fresh thinking, people who aren't of the system coming in,
Yep.
it's gonna, and again, like I think, even on that Wes Moore bit you talked about, I just think that's like the key thing that needs to be brought forward. It's like the same thing with the Ezra Klein book and Abundance,
Yeah.
and it's about changing the actual system and the way you change. Like Biden came in, but he was too of the old guard.
Yeah.
And also old himself,
Yeah.
and I don't think he was, fully.
He was the
able to
old
come in,
guard.
like,
He was the
and
leader
again, like,
of the old guard.
yeah, he was
He
the
was the
little old guard.
captain of the old guard.
Yeah, little old guard.
The oldest
You
guard.
look up
He
old
was
guard.
the
Old
oldest
guard.
guard.
All right, okay. Yeah, look in the dictionary next to old guard. It's face. We love Biden, guys.
We
love
do,
Biden.
we do.
love
And
Biden.
also,
we love him. We just,
give up the keys.
he's,
Give it the
but
keys.
yeah, but the thing is, like, I almost think of if Obama was, came in when he was 50 or 60 and had been in the Senate longer, or had seen the processes longer, if he would have also came in with a force where it's like, no, we need to change how these processes work. Biden came in, passed the infrastructure bill. Why didn't broadband get delivered in a timely manner?
Yeah.
Why didn't people feel these impacts of this? It's not just because these policies were long-term facing. It was because it was literally like that's why the Doge message initially worked in 2024, because there are government inefficiencies.
Yeah.
Obviously not USAID and
Yeah.
the stuff they went for, and it was cruel and stupid. But the thing is, this new democratic wave of people need to come in and say, show me these processes. Where's frivolous research money being sent to? Why does it take 20? Why do I need 2 years and 54 reviews of this road and have to pass? Oh, they passed one environmental standard, but they actually need to pass 20 more environmental standards before we get a road built. It's like, no. At some point, Like we talked about before, you said all these people, these candidates come from law, and they sometimes
Yeah.
they have this process thinking.
Hmm.
You need to change these systems and bring that messaging in with you, and say, I'm going to reform this so that your lives get impacted quicker and faster. And that's why I think these new progressives are making this case and winning, because they're not of the system, and they're saying, I may have worked in government for a few years, but like, look at the way I'm speaking. I'm about to shake stuff up.
Yeah.
That is the underlying consistency with all of this.
Hmm.
People want someone who will shake things up.
Yeah. And
That was Trump to a lot of
yep.
people, and now it's Mamdani. And unfortunately, there's a connection.
Yeah.
They're not totally different people,
Right.
but it's like the underlying anti-establishment angst is actually fueling both
Yes.
progressives
Yep.
and Trump-like people.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say on that is that these we all agree these times are unprecedented, and so much is happening that is impossible to predict or get out in front of. And unprecedented times call for unprecedented leaders. And this is where experience doesn't help you as much as it used to. So let's bring in some fresh talent, some people that were born with phones in their hands and AI on their minds, and let's give them the keys and let them show us the way forward. Okay,
Yep.
so what are your this is we're recording this on Friday, August 8th. What are your predictions for the week ahead? What do you think? What are you looking at?
I mean, I'm just waiting to see what goes on with the Texas
Okay.
Democrats. August special session supposed to end soon, but again, Abbott could call for another
Yep.
one. I want to see what happens with the FBI.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'm waiting to see if there's any crazy.
Like the media shots, like the
Yeah,
visuals of them like
yeah. If we get
handcuffing
like
these
a
people.
thousand
Yeah.
Alex Padilla images
Yeah.
of just these people getting tackled, we'll see. So
Okay.
I'm looking to see what happens there. Even though the FBI, there's no federal law being violated, there's no justification or jurisdiction there. I'm looking at that. I'm looking obviously the Epstein stuff. They had this random meeting Wednesday night, trying to talk about it, scheme up things. You have Maxwell saying Trump did nothing wrong. There's a reporting of that, so I'm going to see what they're trying to cook up there. And
It's so hilarious. They think that they think that
no one's going to
they
believe
think
it.
we don't know that they like sent a lawyer to go make a deal. Like we're seeing all we know it all
We're
happened.
seeing what you're doing. Candace Owens was like, she called him deceptive. She
She
said he was
did.
being deceitful. She said he's being deceitful, and no one's buying. Like Candace Owens,
not buying it.
there are people on the right speaking out. No one's buying
No.
it. And yeah, so I'm just, I'm watching Epstein. I'm
Okay.
watching, just all the things, redistricting mainly,
Yeah.
just to see how this plays out. And I'm watching what Newsom does, because if Texas gets this passed, Newsom is going to immediately throw it to a ballot measure
Yeah.
to approve and allow them to bypass the independent commission. They're going to redraw some maps. So that's what I'm looking at. What are you looking at?
I'm actually headed to Selma next week. Like I said, the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act was this week. We had a bunch of folks from Selma, and so I'm going to recharge. We spent a lot of energy in the run up to the election on Tuesday. So, for me, I'm always, never want to forget where all this started, and I go back to kind of recharge and to learn from the foot soldiers that made this all happen, while also thinking about the broader messaging for 2026 and what we'll need to get people into the funnel for volunteering. So it's both like super high level kind of ethos stuff that I'm looking at after an election win, and then very tactical ground level. How are we moving people from like Instagram to signups on the app to out in the field knocking on doors? So those are the things that I'm going to be spending the week on, and then I'll check back with you and get caught up, because I'm going to try actually not to think about any of it, because there's really nothing I can do to impact map drawing in California, unless Gavin Newsom wants to call me, and if he wants to call me and ask
Right.
my opinion, after guessing right on this election, a lot of people are asking my opinion now. So
Yeah, that's you. You were on. You. I'm telling you, man. That was a strong move. That was a you made a call, and you were right. You picked the underdog,
dude,
and you were
and
right.
this is why people are having you on more often on television. Is that we saw something that other people didn't see coming out of November, and
Yeah.
it's that view into the future. Another reason why you should bring in younger people to fresh thinkers.
Yeah.
We saw this turn. We saw the turn where the country was turning. We understand leaders in ways that other people have been around for a long time don't, and we're actually our record is pretty good, dude. Our track record is pretty. Me and you, man, our track record is
Yeah.
pretty good. It's pretty good.
Pretty right. Pretty right. We predicted Musk's fall.
Yeah,
We predicted that Trump was going to become unpopular while he was like near 50% approval rating.
yeah,
We said he was going to overreach. We said Project 2025.
dude.
Everything.
What is that? What is
Everything.
it? A poly market. Okay, here, look, this is a deep cut right here. Okay, if you wanna you wanna take advantage of Charles and Ahmed's predictions, you need to go on poly market. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Create a Ahmed and Charles
You
index
know,
of our
I,
predictions and go make some money.
dude, like you can look. This is Bolivian presidential election. I don't have an opinion on that, but anything else, yeah, tune into the.
Honestly, I need to start betting on that. What like that's my stock market.
I know this is our retirement right here. We need to,
Yeah.
yeah.
What am I doing? I should have bet on Musk not lasting
We
6
should,
months
yeah,
a long
man.
time ago.
Yeah, look. This is gonna turn into an investment podcast actually.
Yeah,
Pretty soon here. We need to get it done. All right,
definitely.
all right, y'all. See you next week.